Hey everybody, it's Thursday night, which means it is time for Shop Talk. So stick around and we'll be right back. We're going to be all formal tonight, so I will introduce myself. I am Josh Olive, host of Shop Talk from Haven Comics, the very best comic book store on Slaughter Road, absolutely guaranteed. And we are here to talk about some comics. We're going to talk about some that we've been reading. We're going to talk about some that are coming out soon. And it's going to be, all in all, a pretty great time. So I'm looking forward to it. And we will see what's going on. I was about to introduce our co host, but he just stepped away. And I can see that he is not in front of his camera. So I guess I'll wait on that and just riff a little bit. So we'll talk about some of the things that we are looking at coming up soon. Oh wow, okay. We live on a hill, and I just saw two little kids. One in a what do you call those power wheels, and another one on one of those little scooters you stand on. And they just went zooming down the hill. And these are little kids, so that was no adults in sight, and I hope they don't crash or get run over by a car. Anyway, tonight, after we talk about some of the comics, we're going to talk about previews a little bit, what's coming up, some DC as well, and we'll see what's going on. But in the meantime, our one and only co host, the fabulous, the fantastic, the hair challenged Alan is here. That was perfectly timed with this.
No, sorry, I left my phone in the car. I had to run out there and grab it right quick.
Just so you can respond whenever Nick texts us during the middle of the show.
Yeah, really.
Speaking of
That's
which,
just how we roll.
Where is Nick?
I have no idea. I know we're into the summertime, so sun's staying up later, so our viewers aren't showing up right when we start, which is fine.
It is a little odd to see that much sunlight coming through the curtains behind you. I will admit.
That's not sunlight. That's the actual bat signal.
Oh, well, that's nice. You have to have the curtains there to keep it from blinding you, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
So, what's been going on with you, man?
Usual work, getting caught up on comics. I am completely caught up on Wonder Woman now.
So you read through number 9?
Yeah, we will have to talk about that here in a little bit.
Yes.
I'm kind of excited to talk about, actually, I brought several books with me, but 3 titles in particular I'm really excited to talk about.
Okay.
Other than that, can't wait to get by the store tomorrow so I can get my grubby little hands on Scarlet #1.
You mean this one?
Have you read it yet?
Of course I read it.
And what did you think?
It's going to take a little getting used to for me to the continuity is so different from all the other G.I. Joe stuff that we know. And it's super weird to meet some of the characters you meet here when there are other characters that we have not yet met who you know are vital to everything. You'll know what I mean when you read it. But Scarlet #1, very, very good.
Who's writing that?
It is Kelly Thompson, I think. Yeah, Kelly Thompson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know if Josh Williamson was writing it since he wrote the first 2.
No, he's not writing that or Destro.
Okay.
So yeah, that's it's a very good book. It's a solid book. If you think about all the times that we've known her over the decades, Scarlet never gets a whole lot of press where it's really focused on her. Right? She's always kind of a sidekick. And this really lets her shine as a solo character. Really, really good.
Well, we've especially not so much as when we were kids, but more so as we got older with the comic books, you weren't used to seeing Scarlet without Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
Or a lot of times you weren't used to seeing Snake Eyes without Scarlet.
Yes.
So I am looking forward to this. I'm glad that they did not rush a Snake Eyes book out there.
Me too. I think that was a smart play.
Yeah.
Because they're going to build up a fan base for these other characters by doing it the way that they're doing it.
Okay, that's good.
If you don't walk away from this book as a fan of Scarlet, then I don't know what would make you a fan of Scarlet.
I say I like the way they introduced Baroness.
Yes. She's a real wild card.
Yeah, and I am looking forward to, because we're going to get Baroness and Scarlet interactions like we've never seen before.
That's true, but that's not what we start off with in this book.
Oh, really?
No. In this book, you see that symbol there?
Uh-huh.
That's not just there for jollies.
Really?
No. That is a key part of the comic.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely intrigued now. I can't wait to get my hands on that.
The book starts with Scarlet having a mission and having something she's supposed to do. And her going, why would I only do part of the mission and not the whole thing? And breaking all the rules because it's the right thing to do. It's fantastic. It's super good. Oh, Lord. So I guess we know Nick is why Nick's not going to be with us tonight. So more to fool him. Hope he has a good night. In any case, this starts with her. The opening sequence is kind of like a scene that occurs in, I guess it's the opening sequence of the movie True Lies, if you remember that.
Okay.
It's not dissimilar in how it starts. But at the party that she goes to at the beginning, she sees somebody who she pretends not to really know, even though that's impossible. And that plays a major role in what's going on later. Other people that you meet in this book, again, doesn't give anything away, but other people you meet in this book include Snowjob.
Really?
Yeah. And we meet a certain bad guy I didn't expect to meet long before we meet a good guy that I did expect to meet.
Okay.
It's really good. It's very well done. It feels, I guess, the kind of like Duke, this feels very true to her character, even though it's a totally different setting and a totally different everything else. It reads very much like Scarlet. So we have a few copies left on the shelf, not a lot. Strongly recommend you pick it up. We also ordered quite a few blank covers in anticipation of the expo next year and getting people to have G.I. Joe or Scarlet things drawn. So just so you know.
Honestly, I was thinking next year along those lines, depending on the artist that's there. If he is there again, I may get him to draw like Daredevil or something, do something totally different.
Oh, absolutely.
Just for the simple fact that a lot of times when you see, well, just about all the time when you see his work, it's always women.
Yeah, that's why his Captain America piece stands out so much to me.
Yeah.
I really do love it. Fantastic. But no, Scarlet is very, very good, and I'm excited for you to read it so that we can talk about it.
Oh, I'll be getting my hands on it tomorrow night. I did see, was it yesterday or today, that they did release it and make it official. Deadpool Wolverine is going to be rated R.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise anybody.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, though, you were kind of wondering, is it going to get, on what level is it going to get Disney-fied? Everybody's kind of worried. Are they really actually just going to cut him loose? And apparently they did. So,
Bob Iger's not an idiot.
Do what?
Bob Iger's not an idiot.
Oh no! I mean, that movie's a guaranteed hit if they just let him continue doing what he's doing.
Matt Posey, what's up?
So I am looking forward to that.
All right, pull out your store folio. Let's see what you got. Let's talk some comics.
All right. So right off the bat,
he's talking about the Deadpool Wolverine movie. Just got a notification officially that it's rated R.
Yep. So, I mean, we were hoping, we knew that was coming, but at the same time, it is Disney. Are they going to throw us a curveball?
I imagine they'll do like they did before, and they will also release a PG version or a PG-13 version.
See, I just don't, to me, Deadpool does not work that way.
Did you see the PG-13 version of the last one?
I saw it, but it was kind of, in the back of my mind, it was one of those where I knew there was another version out there.
Yeah.
So it just kind of.
And they make fun of that in the PG-13 version.
Yeah, I know. And I don't know. It just didn't feel right to me that they did two different versions of the movie. So
don't you want your kids to be able to see it?
Yeah, when they're like 30.
There you go.
Yeah. But right off the bat, we're going to go, and you know what? Since we've already been kind of talking about it, I'll skip over this and we'll jump straight to this one. It was mentioned last week, but I did finally get a chance to read it, and that is Cobra Commander, issue number 5.
Ah, there we go. Now we can talk about it.
Yeah, now we can talk about it. He is conniving and underhanded. He's
manipulative as all get out.
Yes, and he is extremely smart, and I love the way they brought him and Destro together. Yes. I thought that was absolutely brilliant.
A highly unorthodox meeting, but I thought it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good ending. And I understand what you're talking about now when you said that, Cobra Law is, everything organic. Cybertron is everything metal, how they're going to end up going against each other. That makes a lot more sense after you actually read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I still don't like Cobra Law, but that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. This book started turning for me, I guess, around issue 3, where Cobra Commander was being tortured. It started getting
the
really
smiley face.
Yeah, with the smiley face thing. And then you not actually seeing what Nemesis Enforcer was doing to him. It's just slowly zooming in on that bloody smiley face.
Uh-huh.
I thought that was great.
That was very good cinematography.
Very, very good. The first 2 issues were a little iffy. I did enjoy them, but nowhere near as much as 3 through 5. This was just a great read. I like the fact that it's focused solely on, if you look at it, here comes your massive spoiler for anybody that hasn't read it. At the end of this book, you see the birth of Cobra.
And that cover shouldn't work. There's no action. There's nothing exciting. It's a static picture with this uniformity. There's nothing moving, nothing. And yet it works.
Yep. And the cover fits. It's kind of weird. The cover fits perfectly with the end of the book.
Yes.
And
the cover is a huge spoiler for the whole end of the story.
Yeah.
Thank you for correcting that, because I was like, I grant you he was racially reinvented because he's not human, but that's interesting, but radically. Yes, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Are you on the list for Scarlet, Matt? Because if not, you definitely should be. It's excellent. Excellent, excellent. If you like Duke and you like Cobra Commander, you will love Scarlet, and I cannot wait for Destro.
Yeah, and another thing that I'm glad that it kind of, made a point of you visually seeing him ditch that stupid overcoat and hat.
Thank God.
That it made a point to,
A hat on top of a helmet was stupid.
Yeah, but the whole birth of Cobra and Cobra, the Cobra Commander that we grew up with, having all that just kind of happen right there at the end at the same time, and actually seeing
we have a couple left, not many.
Yeah, actually seeing all of the basically Cobra without uniforms on, and you see that they are everyday people that's just fed up with it.
Yep.
I mean, that just made it even so much better to me.
It makes sense for people who are angry, who feel marginalized or disenfranchised, or who are just mad at the world.
Yeah.
That he could manipulate the heck out of those people, because he was manipulating everybody. And it would be very easy for them to buy into what he's selling. I just thought it was really, really good. I like that he's not the simpering, cowardly Cobra Commander that we had growing up, which he kind of had to be as a kid, because that's what all the villains were at the time, right? Cobra! And the comics and the cartoon were out simultaneously, all this stuff. But him as an actual master manipulator, strategic guy, I really do. I do like that characterization of him. I believe so, Bill. Pretty sure, but we'll double check. I think we've got you down on all of these.
Yeah, and not just that though, but it's after G.I. Joe went to Skybound, it's almost like they grew Cobra Commander up some in the main title also.
Well, he had been headed that way for a little while, but yeah, he's definitely more perceptive.
Yeah.
In G.I. Joe Real American Hero now, like seeing this is the strategy that they're going to come at us with. We need to be prepared. That kind of thing. That's definitely a little bit of a different vibe from him, which I appreciate. I still think Serpentor is a better leader for Cobra, but you know.
Yeah, the whole getting back to Springfield and rallying the troops, that was, I did like that in the main continuity. So far, I love what they're doing with G.I. Joe. It's even with getting used to new stories with old characters or new continuity with old characters, that's been fun. It's like it's breathed new life into some of them.
I'm enjoying the heck out of it.
Yeah, I really am too. Next up on my list, and we already mentioned it earlier, and we talked about it last week, how beautiful this cover is. That is Wonder Woman, issue number 9.
That is one of the coolest covers. It's such a simple design in so many respects, but it is so gorgeous and so beautifully executed.
Not just that, if you look at the cover, and for people that have not read this, you're not going to understand it. And if you haven't read it, you're truly missing out.
It actually has to do with what's going on inside the book.
It really does. In an abstract way, it really does. Wonder Woman has taken okay, so I may end up getting the numbers wrong. In 5 she was defeated, or in 6, I believe 6 was where her and Superman go to find Batman's birthday present. And it even tells you, hey, this takes place beforehand. 7, 8, and 9 has taken this really, really sharp, demented turn into the psychological. And it has been so good.
8 was a very painful read. 8 was a very painful read. 7, she was still defiant. She was still holding strong and pushing the boundaries. In 8, you could see her starting to crack. And you could see that she was fighting through it, but you could see the cracks, right?
Yeah.
And in 9, it feels like those cracks have, in some ways, they've been bridged, but they're not solidly fixed. They're still broken, and there's still bad things happening. And it might be worse because she thinks that uh, she's uh, she's fixed things, right? Uh, really interesting.
Yeah, the whole scene with, and it's in this book, but the whole scene where basically the entire book's played out in her head, for those of you not reading it, and Steve Trevor is in the basically the fantasies with her, and throughout the course of these fantasies, this fantasy life that she's trying to hold on to maintain her own sanity, she realizes that it's not Steve Trevor. Well, she's always known that it's not Steve Trevor, but even this version of him basically says, I'm actually the part of you that's wanting to fight this. That's kind of what he's getting at throughout it. And it's really good because there's one particular panel where he tells her, she's basically comparing herself to Bruce and Clark and how she's not them. And he's like, you're right. And I thought it was great because he turns and he looks at her. He says, you're right. Clark got killed. Bruce was broken. You're unbeaten. And it was, and then by the end of the book, you literally see her sitting in the dark, petting that rat.
Oh my God, the rat.
That was so creepy. Her sitting in the dark, petting that rat, looking at the Sover and going, so what's next?
I'm telling you, especially because earlier when she said she had eaten the rat.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, but that one line about not being Bruce and not being Clark, that one, not like, ooh, chills, but it kind of gave me chills a little bit because it was dead on and it was awesome. It was really well done.
Yeah, I'm sitting here and I'm reading it, and I know that Tom King's run on Batman was controversial for some people. Some people just flat out did not like it. I personally loved it. And I was curious as to how he was going to do Wonder Woman, especially after the way he had written Catwoman is such a strong character. But I absolutely love what Tom King has done with Wonder Woman.
Me too. I think it's brilliant.
I was sitting there reading it, getting caught up last night and today.
You see why I was so frustrated that you hadn't got caught up to it yet.
Yeah, and it's really good, and I definitely understand that. I would love to see if they're going to do another Wonder Woman movie or do Wonder Woman under James Gunn. I would like to see Tom King write the screenplay.
Oh, heck yes.
I mean, that's how strongly I believe in what he's doing with Wonder Woman. One thing that we've mentioned on the show before, and I've talked to it with several friends in the past, we've talked about it. I'm not a fan of the secondary stories in some comic books.
Same.
I feel like on some level, I feel like you're kind of getting ripped off a little bit. Or they're not putting enough into the main story. It's almost like you're getting this filler. I don't know because
I would cast Hal Hado, Gal Gadot's sister, her twin sister. I mean, Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman. Let's just be clear.
Yeah. But with that said, I am loving the secondary story with Damian and John babysitting Trinity.
It is a lot of fun, and I don't like any of those characters, not one of them, and I have enjoyed it. So,
yeah, I'm not a big Damian fan. John,
that little jerk.
Yeah, John, I just haven't read enough Superman to decide on him one way or the other.
I've never liked Superman a whole lot. Like, I respect Superman. I like Superman in the context of Batman typically. So you get World's Finest or something like that.
Yeah.
Superman shines better when he's got a little shadow to go with him.
Yep.
And I'm not interested and never have been interested enough in Superman to care about Superboy or Steel or Blue Superman or Zombie Superman or Cyborg Superman. I just don't care. Yep. And so Jonathan Kent, like, okay, it's another super person. I just don't care.
Yeah. Well, say, like I said, I've just never read enough of Jonathan Kent to really make a decision one way or another. Damian, on the other hand, I understand. I'm not a big fan of Damian. I understand why so many people just flat out hate that character. But in this, with the stories that they're telling, with them babysitting Trinity, they've been great.
I agree. And that ticks me off a little bit, but I agree.
The whole thing about them trying to get Trinity to go to sleep, and Damian is basically telling the stories about how basically Damian showed up and defeated Darkseid in 37 seconds. I mean, I just thought was great. But then the whole part where Damian is leaving her room and he says, okay, good night. You got to go to sleep now. Good night. And she's like, good night. I love you. And he kind of stopped and he was like, do what? And she goes, you're my brother and I love you. And he was just kind of, I love you too, and walks off. I thought that was such a great moment for his character, actually.
Yeah, I did too.
Because you never see that with his character anywhere.
No, because he's awful.
Yeah, he really is. But no, I mean, I've thoroughly enjoyed Wonder Woman. I've thoroughly enjoyed the secondary stories.
The artwork is superlative.
I was about to say that the artwork, what they're doing with the art in Wonder Woman is absolutely perfect for the story.
Daniel Sampere has like rocketed up to like very, very, very high on my list of best living today.
I mean, it's just Wonder Woman's just been great, and it's not too late. They're only on issue 9, so anybody that wants to check it out at your LCS, you got plenty of time. Another one to check out, and this book
Curious to see where you're going. I don't know.
Well, okay, so here's my thing on before I show you all this book. For those
Hang on real quick, I got to answer this question. I thought that was fantastic. I thought that was fantastic. What a great idea. That was fun.
But for those of you that are roughly mine and Josh's age, there was a movie that came out called Nightbreed. It came out in the early to mid 90s. It was based on a Clive Barker novel called Cabal, or Cable, depends on who you ask.
Cabal, yeah.
I'm a redneck, so it's Cable. But the whole premise of the story is the monsters that you are terrified of are the ones that are just trying to survive and be left in peace. The real monsters are the everyday humans.
Mm-hmm.
And after reading issue number 2 of Creature from the Black Lagoon, I'm starting to get that vibe.
Oh, big time.
Especially with the way that it ended. I mean, this ending on this book, it posed a lot of questions. Like, is she starting to turn into one? That was the first thing that I thought. Or since she technically drowned, does she have some type of connection to the creature now? And then the serial killer that has escaped to South America, he's the true monster of the story.
100%.
And I mean, some of the other people down there, like basically purchasing cadavers at the local morgue just so they can dissect them. I mean, once again, it's the story of the everyday person is the monster, and the monster just wants to be left alone. It's been really good, and they're only on issue 2, and I don't know how many they're doing.
It's 5, I think.
But I do like the fact that with issue 2, they continued that old cinema feel to it.
And in the sign-up sheet should be up at the shop tomorrow. It took a while for us to get that done this time. I apologize. And on that sign-up sheet is the Universal Monsters Frankenstein #1 of 5.
Oh, yeah, and I can't wait to get my hands on that one, too. I like that Image is doing this with the Universal Monsters.
Yep.
I hope that when it's all said and done, we at least get some type of oversized one-shot bringing them all together. I think fantastic. That would be good. Do what?
So that would be fantastic.
But yeah, these have been great so far. I had to readjust my stack some because the last book we may end up talking about it for just a minute. So next up on my list, and this is coming to an end after reading issue 12. We know which direction. I mean, it has to come to an end as much as I don't want this to come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just getting, I mean, it's been a slow and steady march, just building and building and building ever since Robin rescued King John or King Richard.
Richard, yeah.
And I love the way that they've done it. This book really and truly it was a solid story. I enjoyed it. But this issue 12 did a great job building the anticipation for issue 13.
Yeah, and it ends with issue 15. That's the last issue.
Is that the last issue?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if we'll get the actual battle. And I thought 13 was the last issue. I wonder if we'll get the actual battle in 13.
That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, it was the way they built toward it. And let me tell you what, Maid Marian, don't nobody need to turn their back on her at all on any level.
Oh, not unless you want a knife in it.
I mean, I never would have imagined reading a Robin Hood story or, anything with Robin Hood where at the end of the day, Maid Marian is the ultimate villain.
Right. I never would have thought that. Speaking of Robin Hood, though, remind me when we get off the show tonight to tell you something I've had in my head for a while that I'm working on. I want to see what you think, if it's worth anything.
Okay. Next up, we're going to go with Rook Exodus, issue 2.
There we go. What do you think about that?
Well, here's my thing. When I read Rook in the Ghost Machine one-shot, it really and truly didn't do anything for me.
It did not click for me either.
There wasn't,
and I wanted it to really bad.
From the look and everything, I wanted it to. But after talking to Jeff Johns and Jason Fabok on the show, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I'm going to give this book a shot. I'm going to give it a legitimate read. If I don't like the first issue, then so be it. I just don't like the first issue. I liked the first issue a lot. The second issue I thought was even better because Direwolf has shown up.
Yeah, I like her.
Yeah, Direwolf is a great character. And Matt, I completely and totally understand that.
I do too.
Yeah, this is one of those books that it's not going to be for everyone. I ultimately don't see how long they can run this series, because
I have that question too. It's like it's got an inherent ending in it.
Yeah, like that. It definitely feels like there's an ending plan. Because I mean, we can look at it two ways. If they get off the planet, the series is over with. If they win, technically the series is over with, because you can just kind of have Rook and Direwolf live their lives and populate the planet and enjoy their time together until the day they die. Because at a certain point, you're really and truly going to start running out of villains on the planet, and it's going to end up becoming Swiss Family Robinson.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we don't know what they have planned. I've really enjoyed it.
The artwork is just superb.
Oh God, yeah. And then the fact that the guy that has the bears,
Ursa.
Yeah, Ursa. The fact that he was not a warden, that he was something else. I like that. I thought that was cool. So I'm looking forward to the direction the story's going in.
That's not a bad point, Matt. Great. Sometimes it takes a minute to get into a new series or something, a new world, a new universe, because it feels unfamiliar, and you want something that has at least a tinge of familiarity to it. That could very well be it, or a part of it, if it's not clicking with you yet.
Yeah, and when it comes, I saw a thing, and they were actually talking about movies. There was a study done about why people watch the same movies over and over and over again. And it's the familiarity and the whole you already know the outcome, so you're comfortable with it. With Rook, there's no familiarity. We have no idea what the outcome is, so we're just not comfortable with it yet. I'm definitely enjoying it. I want to get comfortable with it. I'm just wondering about the longevity of the stories. You know, where do you go after the first true arc?
That's a question I have too, and I just don't know.
Next up on my list, and this one was coming to an end, and I wanted to find the perfect sound effect for this book. And I found it tonight, and here it is. Batman First Night, issue number 3. It is over with, and this is how I feel about it.
Certified badass.
This
What was that?
no.
Certified badass.
Oh Lord, that's a fun 3 issues, wasn't it?
This was a great 3 issues. Sometimes I'm not that big on period pieces, especially with characters that we're so familiar with, but they caught every essence of this time frame. Even the art, the art was perfect for it. The story was great. I like the fact that there was even a little bit of a romance, there toward the end of it. And it had like that old school, golden, silver screen feel to it as far as even the romance was concerned. Releasing this under Black Label was absolutely perfect. DC and Dan Jurgens, they did no wrong with this 3 issues right
and Mike
here.
Perkins on art.
Oh yeah, his art was absolutely beautiful. I liked everything about it. Just for those of y'all that have not read it, that's kind of what we're looking at with the art.
I've always hated that old style original appearance Batman costume.
Yeah.
With those huge ears sticking off to the side and everything. I've never liked that. But in this book, it makes so much sense. And she looks like an old school movie star.
Yeah, it was great. I would love it if DC would give this version of Batman the Mad Cave or the AWA treatment. And once every 3 to 4 months, we get a couple of issues.
I'd be curious to see what kind of story Dan Jurgens would have to tell. I think he's certainly got more stories to tell in that universe.
Yeah.
Because he's barely scratched the surface on what he can do.
Yeah,
and where is Alfred?
I like the fact that we have no Alfred, but one of the things that I really and truly liked about this book was I never saw the reveal coming.
Oh, I didn't either.
I never saw this person as the villain. I was expecting like by the end of it, we see the birth of Two-Face, or I was expecting like a Penguin in the Iceberg Lounge or something along those lines. The fact that the villain, or the voice is what they call him, was pretty much just an average Joe.
Yeah.
I thought that was brilliant.
I really enjoyed it. It felt very rooted and grounded in the time period in every respect, and I really, really I appreciated that.
So these were these were $6.99 each. For $21, you can get all 3, and it is an absolutely perfect Batman story.
Or if with your subscriber discount, less than 20.
Yep, less than 20. My last book that I was going to talk about, and I've been looking forward to talking about this one. This one is a one-shot by AWA.
Okay, I know what it is.
Yeah. I was not expecting anything going into this book because it was one of those that I knew it was going to be a one shot, and I did not want basically my opinion swayed one way or another. I wanted to go into it with fresh eyes. And this book is a modern day episode of the Twilight Zone.
That's exactly what it is. Felt very much like the Twilight Zone.
Yes, it is absolute. I mean, this is a one shot for what, $3.99, $4.99, $2.99, whatever it is. I don't remember. You get the complete story, but even at the end of it, you feel like I need another 5 issues. You need to explain some more, just because of the way that it ends.
Well, and the way that it starts too.
Yeah, that is death ratioed. So the whole premise of
the logo makes a lot of sense after you read the book too.
Yeah, it really does. And I did not pick up on that until after the fact. But the whole premise of the book is we have a man that wakes up from a coma after 20 years.
22.
And he pretty much, when he wakes up, he finds out that there is no governments left. Everything is done by social media.
46.
Do what?
So he wakes up in 2046.
Yeah. There
after
is
22 years in a coma.
Yep, there is. Everything's done by social media. You literally live and die based on how many likes or dislikes you get. On the flip side of that, everything is extremely cheap. You know, you really don't have to want for too much, but you have to wear these collars. And on these collars, on either side of your throat, you've got an up arrow and a down arrow. At any given moment, somebody can dislike something you've said or done. You get so many dislikes, the collar explodes, and you can kind of imagine what happens after that. The ending of it, though, they scale the wall, and then what they see outside of it, and then she basically tells him what he had told her in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
This book is a masterclass on how to come full circle in a story.
Oh, it really was. Yeah.
I mean, it was great. And then the fact, I love this right here. After you read the book, it actually makes this make more sense, and it makes it funny. The little tagline for the book is, "Don't let social media go to your head."
I didn't even think about that, but you're right.
Yeah, but the whole thing is, and the book is at the same time, it's kind of scary because you see,
because it feels like that's in the possible future. Yeah.
Yeah, because they even talk about social credit scores in here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's literally how you pay for stuff, is based off of your social credit score in the book. It's also scary because you see how many people in the world today, they are validated by how many likes they get on a post.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and in this, you only survive if you're liked. I mean, it's really scary.
The other thing I thought was scary was how it does not create genuine niceness and kindness in people. It like reinforces these facades of goodness.
Yep.
Right? So one of the first things they do when he wakes up out of the coma is they introduce him to all these different cyber gangs, essentially. Like, we're the ones who just roll over and take whatever anybody says, and we get sympathy likes. And we're the ones who just tell people how it is, and we get likes for being bossy. You know, like, which gang are you going to join so that you get likes and you don't have your head explode?
Yep.
And it felt very real, because you would look at that and you're like, I know people who fall into these categories. And it felt very prescient and real. It felt like a fable with a warning in it, while being a darn good story. And it was horrifying to read.
It really was. And then the fact that, you know, I thought there was something else that it gets brought up in the book, and it's only like 1, maybe 2 lines in the book, but then that kind of sent me off thinking about something totally different. when you get down to your final dislike, your collar will start going off like a warning that everybody can hear. Well, they tell him, hey, somebody tells him if that happens, don't go outside because you might run across somebody out there that wants to be the one that hits that dislike button that just makes your head pop.
They just want to watch your head explode. Yep.
So now we pretty much have legalized murder.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I did find it funny when, and I don't want to give too much. I mean, we've given a lot away, but there's still some I don't want to give away. When one particular character is trying to help him out to kind of escape, and when this character turns, he's got two clickers in his hands and he starts hitting the dislike button, and that's kind of how they fought.
Right.
I thought that was hysterical because
that was great.
He just kept spamming them until their heads popped.
Yep. It was, yeah. I didn't have high expectations for this book. I didn't know what to make of it going in. And when I started, it was kind of weird because the story starts in the middle of the story, in a way. Like, okay, you got to do Nakoma, and then, but you don't get a whole big thing about his life, about all this stuff. You don't get a whole lot of this. It just kind of picks up and runs with it, and you're like, okay, I feel like I really need to know some backstory here, but I don't. Yeah. And then if you get to the end, you're like, I really feel like I need to know what happens next, but you don't. It's a one shot. That's it. And that should be really frustrating to me. And maybe it is on a tiny, minute level, but on the whole, I thought it was extremely well done, and it told a heck of a story. And if you want to think a little bit with your comics, this is a thinker. This is one that you sit with and you think about for a little bit because it's so plausible and horrible.
Yeah,
a little bit of a thinker.
I don't want to set the YouTube censors off, but especially when there's already a country that we know of that is messing with social credit scores.
Yeah.
So this book, yeah, it's like a bizarre episode of the Twilight Zone, but at the same time, this could become a reality if you're not careful. So yeah, I was really blown away by this book. When I was at the shop last Friday, there were still copies of it up there. I don't know how many's up there, but if you can get your hands on it, whether you're local or you're watching from somewhere else, Nosh, pick up this pick up this book. I mean, it was a really, really good book. And then once again, it's a one shot. So it's not like you're about to invest months of your life into it.
Yeah.
You're looking
absolutely.
at, 30 minutes if you really and truly want to examine the art and everything. It was really good.
Now, that's the end of the books that you brought to talk about?
Yes, sir.
Well, in big and me then, because I got others. All right. Let's start here. Speaking of horrible futures, the store closes at 6 o'clock on Fridays, Matt. Speaking of horrible futures, Avengers Twilight. What an ending to a book. Holy smokes, what a great ending to a book. This is this kind of dark future where being a superhero is outlawed, where, again, and it feels a little on the nose prescient-wise, maybe, but it's where the propaganda machines tell you who to hate and all these kind of things. And so people don't really think for themselves. They just do what the propaganda machines tell them. And in this, Tony Stark died, mostly, in this series. His son, who's really, really angry about Tony Stark being dead and all the things that he thinks Tony Stark screwed up, is helping what turns out to be, and this is book 6. This is the last issue of the series, so sorry for any spoilers about this. It turns out he is helping the Red Skull take control of America, because Red Skull's in charge of the propaganda machines and all these other things. And so Tony Stark's son is helping. Now, you know from earlier issues that Tony Stark's wife and the mother of this kid is Janet Van Dyne. It's the Wasp. And she doesn't show up in this whole series. So you just kind of assume she's dead too. Well, she's not. And when she makes an appearance in this book, the why and the how is awesome. It's so unexpected, and it's so cool, and it's so well done. And it's really, really effective. And I really appreciated that. Then there's also, as you can see, Hulk makes an appearance. And he's a Hulk that you see the glowy things that are stuck on him all over. They're able to control the Hulk. Well, he's fighting Thor. And Thor is like, dude, stop. Nope. No, dude, stop. And it's an ugly battle. And Red Skull is cackling because this battle is literally happening all across the country, just wreaking devastation everywhere it hits. And finally, Banner comes to himself just enough to say, like, end it, dude. Help me. Stop me. Help. Right?
Okay.
And so Thor has to put down his friend.
Oh, wow.
And the way that he does it, it's such a cool way to kill somebody that you can't kill. You hate it, you feel awful, but it was such a great way to do it. I want to say I've heard, like, maybe there was discussions 25, 30 years ago with the comic shop where we talked about things like this. So it didn't feel like it just came completely out of the blue and it was totally unheard of, but it kind of felt like maybe it was, and I'm just like misremembering. But in any case, the way that Thor has to kill the Hulk is awesome. And I will spoil it for you if you want.
Go ahead.
Okay. Like I said, this fight is bouncing across the entire country. It's just an absolutely epic battle. And it is really, really, really well done. The artwork is a little dark and inky, so it takes a minute. But he ends up, Thor crashes up into the sky with the Hulk and then drives him down into the ocean. And on the ocean floor, he sets his hammer on Hulk's chest. And Hulk can't lift it. So he just perpetually drowns.
Now, that is definitely a cool way to take Hulk out.
Now, is it permanent? It's Hulk, so probably not. But in this world, it feels pretty darn permanent. Was really, really well done. It crashes him to the bottom of the ocean and then just puts his hammer in the middle of his chest. And then you just see Thor walking off across the ocean floor, like, sad. And it's very poignant. This is the design for the Wasp. Really, really cool.
She kind of looks like a Skrull, though.
She kind of looks like Ultron.
Okay. But where she has been this whole time, and all, freaking brilliant. Really, really well done. The trade for this should be out soon. Strongly, strongly recommend you pick up the trade and give this a read. This is a fantastic story. Chip Zdarsky knocked it out of the freaking park, as Chip Zdarsky is wont to do. And the artwork is very dark and melancholy and moody, and it feels perfect for the story that's being told.
Okay, we already talked about Creature from the Black Lagoon. Let's talk about this one. On the whole blood hunt thing, Midnight Suns. I can't believe you didn't read this one.
Now, I grew disappointed with Blood Hunt pretty quick.
I looked past my disappointment.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did. This story right here is fantastic.
Does that say of 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a woman who is trying to get help to go up against Blade. And you meet the old school Midnight Suns, right? And at first, the way the story is told, you think that's who she's talking to. But when it breaks apart, you see that she's having a separate conversation with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And the person that the Midnight Suns folks are talking to is Blade. They're sitting at a diner talking to Blade, which he takes as an opportunity, now that they're all gathered, to kill them all. She's talking to Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider.
Yep.
And to Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider. And she has a very real and very powerful hatred for Blade. And she is going to wreak some holy vengeance.
Really?
Yeah. One of the best bits is because Ghost Rider doesn't trust her. Why would he trust her, right? He didn't know her. And she's like, look, just do it. Do that whole penance stare thing. Just do it. You'll see all my guilt, all my sins. Just do it. And he does. And she's like, and he says, and she's like, why? Oh my gosh, this is so terrible. And he says, yeah, you just felt all the pain you've ever caused anybody.
Oh, wow.
That's what the penance stare really does.
Okay.
And most people can't handle that, right? But they're going after Blade, and this was really well done. This, as a comparison, you know how in the whole, was it the gang war story that was running on in Spider-Man? That was whatever. But the Daredevil story that was within that was really good.
Yep.
That's like your Daredevil story.
Okay, I'll check that one out.
This was really good. Blood Hunt, Black Panther. Black Panther has been turned into a werewolf. Not a werewolf. I just said werewolf. Into a vampire. He has been turned into a vampire. This is him trying not to cave in. Right? He's never tasted human blood. He won't do it. He's very weak as a result. Blade wants him to do something because Blade can control him more or less now. And he's trying to fight it. And he's trying so hard to fight it. But because he's a vampire, his own people have turned against him, all this stuff. There's one scene where Shuri opens a vein and she's like, here, you have to eat. And it's really touching the way that happens and what it goes down. But this was a really good story too. I was very happy with it. This might be a case where the main story is not as good as what they're able to do with characters in this setting.
Yeah.
Because both of these books were really, really good. Midnight Suns and Black Panther. Just really enjoyed them.
I think part of my problem is, and we kind of talked about this before, it's
the fact that to read a miniseries, you had to know what's going on outside of it.
Yeah.
That ticked me off. That was not cool.
Well, not just that, but the other side of it is this is part of main continuity. So you automatically go into it knowing that whatever they're going to do, they've ultimately got to fix it.
Well, that's always the case with these big event books. And that's one of the things that I had an issue with when I talked to Tom Brevoort, God, back in 2000 when Empire was going on. And it was the big event. It will alter everything forever. And I was like, it doesn't alter anything for any amount of time whatsoever. It just doesn't. There's nothing that comes of it. I said there's a handful of things where anything actually came of it that stuck for any period of time whatsoever. One of those being No More Mutants. Right?
Yep.
House of M. That stuck for a little while. Civil War stuck for a little while. Empire was just a blip on the radar, and ultimately 0 people cared. This one is somewhere. I think there will be elements of this that stick.
Yeah.
Whether that's Blade becomes a villain now for all time, I don't know. But there will be elements of this that stick. I'm convinced of that.
See, that's why I like the way DC did their vampire story. It
It's
happened
totally out of continuity, and anything could happen, and it has consequences.
And we literally got the gloves off with it. I mean, I wish Marvel would do more stuff like that. Hey, we're going to tell you this big, massive story, but we're going to tell it out of continuity, and you're not going to have 10,000 tie-ins. We're going to give you, literally Blood Hunt 1 through 15.
Well, now they have done some of that kind of thing. Like, oh gosh, what was that story? I think it was the one you said where Bug threw it across the room and didn't want to read it anymore.
It was a Tom Taylor story.
Yeah, that was kind of like that. It was totally outside of continuity. They could do what they wanted.
Yeah, in the very first issue, they killed Scarlet Witch, and it just flew all over her.
Yeah.
What was that story?
It had those cool retro 70s covers that look like Joe Jusko or Julie Bell covers. Yeah. Anyway,
I cannot think of what the story is.
I mean, they do it every now and again, but this, you're right. This would have been a perfect candidate for that. The last thing that I got this year was, this week.
How was that?
Interesting. It's almost completely free of dialogue or anything else for that matter. I believe the only line in the entire thing, the only dialogue that occurs at all, is like 3 pages from the end, 2 pages from the end. And it's somebody who says, "We go east." That's it. That's the only dialogue in the entire book.
Okay.
It's this Eurasian tribe trying to survive in the Ice Age. And they're hunting mammoths. That's not going so well for them. Things go bad. There's a fight. Somebody dies. There's this guy out laying out looking at the stars and the moon, and it's just hunting and then discovering and going new places. And this one particular scene here, I think it's this 2-pager here, yeah, where they cross over, or they seem to have crossed over. He might be dreaming at this point. And so you see creatures that were native to North America. So you got the giant sloth, you got the muskox or the bison, and that's not a rock there. Those are those giant critters that look like rocks, but they have tails and a head.
Okay.
The artwork in here is really good. I mean, it's the same as the cover. It's really good. So if you like your anthropology and you like stories that are more pseudo prehistorical, that's very much what this is. I mean, look at this saber-toothed tiger.
That does look good.
The art is really good, and it's a quick read because it's not reading. It's looking. It's absorbing the story as you're seeing it, because dialogue's just not a big thing. There's one line of dialogue. That's it. And then weirdly, this just struck me like, why is this? It's 2 black pages. Like, why did they pay to have those pages covered in ink?
That is kind of strange. What they should have done is let them make it east and they run into Vikings.
They'd have to go a lot further east for that, and then they would have to survive for a long, long time before they got to that.
Well, I mean,
but then there's some like little pencils, just some of the art before it's all finished and colored and stuff.
Now that does look good. That woolly mammoth, just the black and white.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous. The artwork is really, really good. So if you like a story like this, this is a really well done story, guys. I recommend it. It's got a little write up at the beginning that kind of says, here's the story we're telling. In Clovis, New Mexico, they discovered the skeletal remains of mammoths with cut marks on them made by tools used by humans. And I thought this image was pretty cool too. The map with them standing at the top and then the arrowheads at the bottom. That's just pretty cool. Yeah, a very different kind of comic, but I really enjoyed it. So, other than Scarlet, anything you're looking forward to this week?
I was kind of over here working on something. It just kind of hit me. Let me see what's coming up.
Oh, wait, I did forget. I'm sorry. How did I forget this?
See, I have not read 5 yet.
You fool.
Well, there's not a copy of 3. I don't have a copy of 3, so
we have 3 on the wall at the store.
Do what?
We still have 3 on the wall at the store. We're out of 4. We just got in 4th printings of number 2 today.
Well, see, when I was at the store, you had 4 and 5, but you didn't have 3.
We had 3 and 5.
Could have swore it was 4 and 5.
Nope, it was 3 and 5. We sold out of 4 already. We still have number 3. You're probably not wrong there. Somebody is in trouble over those 2 blank pages. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. But no, Ultimate Spider-Man number 5. I really like this take on Harry Osborn. Words I never thought I would say, because I've never liked any of the Osborns, but I really like this take on Harry Osborn.
See,
very well done.
As far as this week is concerned, I think my 2 biggest books are Space Ghost 2 and Scarlet 1. Because this is the issue in Space Ghost, we should be headed to Ghost Planet.
Yep. I'm also excited to read the Ultimates, because the Ultimates is not your traditional Avengers team. Dr. Doom is on it, for one thing. That alone is interesting. Thor is not on it, but Sif is. So I'm excited about that. We've got something cool going on.
I don't know. I just kind of thought of it. Figured I would give it a try and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, let's do it. You're not sharing that camera on screen.
Well, I'm trying to... Let's see. Are you done with the...
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Comic Cam. Cam. You're echoing because you got 2 computers are going, or your phone is going, or something.
All right, how's that? No, that's even worse.
That's worse. That's cracking me up.
Part of me just wants to sit here and go, Friday.
Sunday.
All right, how's that?
That's better. So we're starting with DC.
Yeah, I
Because
just
this
grabbed
up,
this one
folks, we
first.
have previews, or as DC calls it now, Connect. Why is it Connect? I don't know. First off, what are your thoughts about Absolute Power?
I know that Amanda Waller is an extremely strong character,
But you have
but
Amanda Waller fatigue just like I do.
yeah, I've got Amanda Waller fatigue.
I'm super tired of Amanda Waller. I want them so the villains that are the heart of Absolute Power are Failsafe, Queen Brainiac, and Amanda Waller. If they wanted to really, and the Sovereign too is there, but if they really wanted to grab me, it would be Failsafe, Queen Brainiac, the Sovereign, and who's the fourth one? That's right, the Bride from Batman Joker Deadly Duo.
Oh, that will be so good.
That I'm interested in reading.
Yes, because
Amanda Waller, she's a strong character. Can't take all that away from her. She's like an evil. What if Nick Fury was just totally soulless and evil? But I'm so tired of her because they have just made her the focal point of everything for so long.
No, wrong angle, wrong angle.
Yeah, flip that. We don't want to see up your nose. Look it up, Alan's nose hairs.
All right, I think that looks a lot better.
That is better. But
Cool.
I will say Absolute Power is written by Mark Waid. So I've got a lot of faith in that. And Dan Mora is doing the art, so I got a lot of faith in that. Oh, fingers crossed.
So how many, looks like
4
it's
issues,
another
I think.
event series that's going to span multiple books.
Unfortunately.
Now this Absolute Power Origins #2, that's a good looking cover.
That's a great looking cover. I would like to argue that with you, but I can't because it's great. I do appreciate that cover. I also like that cover for Batman 151, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But there's not a whole lot of new comics coming out from DC this month.
Now this one right here, what is that, 85th anniversary variant cover?
Yep.
That one's kind of cool looking.
Yeah, that's the Gabriel Delato cover.
If you get any of the Batman and his Speedo covers in, will you go ahead and put that in Nick Ellis's box, please?
You know he wants it. That's not the only one. They're doing a whole series of swimsuit covers again.
Did they really go over that well last year?
In certain places they did. Certain places in the country they went over very well. And the Nightwing Thirst Trap covers have been very popular.
Ooh, Wonder Woman #12.
Uh-huh. That's an interesting cover for many reasons, not least of which is that looks very similar to the outfit that Trinity wears.
Yep.
I gotta say that Green Lantern 14 cover is pretty awesome too. That cover right there. Tedesco doesn't normally do it for me, but that's a gorgeous cover.
Yeah, that is a beautiful cover.
I will say it's weird that the interior art on that book is by Tony Daniel. That seems like an odd choice. Because his style is nothing like Daniel St. Pierre.
Yeah. Are you reading Green Lantern?
No,
I have not read Green Lantern in a long time.
that cover's pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, that cover is pretty slick.
This next book right here, like, why in the world do we need that book?
0 Hour.
Yeah, why do we need 0 hour 30th anniversary special? I don't need that book, and I don't need to be reminded that it was 30 years ago. I don't need any of that. You could take 0 hour and stuff it.
I do kind of like this Qua cover.
That's a very good cover. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I like the way that was done.
All right, so it looks like we got a new book, Jenny Sparks, issue number 1 by Tom
I have never, ever liked Jenny Sparks. But it's written by Tom King. So that irritates me. You want to know what else is bizarre? It's on our sign-up list for this month. Archie Decides.
Is he
Archie decides between Betty and Veronica. And you know why that sounds so weird and why I mentioned it at all? Do you know why?
Why?
Because it's written by Tom King. I'm not kidding.
Now, I am looking forward to this one.
Oh, yeah. That looks fantastic. Matt Rosenberg is great. I've been trying to get him on the show. He's written some really fantastic stuff. And the artwork looks really good on that one. I have to give him credit. Otto Schmidt did a great job there. I'm looking forward to the first issue of the one that we see. The next page is the Dark Knights of Steel All Winter. It's a alternate universe story about Deathstroke in that Dark Knights of Steel universe that they created with that 12-issue limited series that was so good.
Yep.
And Deathstroke is this one-eyed knight running amok in that world and fan-freaking-tastic.
Hey, just out of curiosity, what do y'all think about the Comic Cam?
Yeah, let us know what you guys think about that, because we can keep doing it, or if you're going, geez, it's making me seasick, we can stop. You are like He-Man. You have the power!
So when is, because we've got a solicitation for Nightwing 117.
Yeah.
When is Tom Taylor's last issue?
118.
118.
That storyline is part 4 of 5.
I don't know if it's going to zoom in, but there's the little swimsuit cover for Nightwing. I'm sure everybody's going to go crazy.
Yeah, they will. They tend to like that one. So, yeah, flip the page over for the new series coming out. All 4 issues hitting in the same month, so it's a weekly book.
Is it a miniseries or ongoing?
It's a miniseries.
Okay, so
Gotham City Sirens.
if you look at Gotham City Sirens issue 4,
Yep.
and look specifically at Poison Ivy,
Yep.
that just looks like Adam Hughes to me, but it's not.
No, that's Dodson.
Yeah. Just
That's Terry Dodson. And if you ever talk to Tom Price up at the shop and you look at Tom's art, stylistically, he favors Terry Dodson a lot, particularly the way he does hair. Yeah. But yeah, Gotham City Sirens, new series coming out. The original Gotham City Sirens was a good one. But yeah, new issue coming out. Looks good. I think that's the last of the new series. I don't think they have any other first issues of any new books coming out in this month's previews. They do have a splash page with the various swimsuit covers if you just want to look at those. They also have one for all the action figure covers. And I will say the page after that has the Nice House by the Sea #2. That cover is amazing. I really, really like that cover.
Yeah, here's all the action figure covers. And then here's all the swimsuit covers.
Do, 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 do. Yeah, then at the end, it's nothing but trades that are coming out. One question I do have for you, because it's available for order now, is the 1982 Jose Garcia Lopez DC Style Guide.
DC Style Guide.
For, yes, how to draw Batman, how to draw Wonder Woman, how to draw Superman, what they should look like, where the curl in his hair should be, what their costumes look like. But it's the style guide for all of DC Comics for each of the characters. The original one that they used in-house in 1982, drawn by one of the absolute top masters ever, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez.
Yes, Bill, you are correct. We do.
I'm excited for that personally. The fact that you are not even remotely excited hurts my feelings a little bit.
I mean, we saw the extent of my drawing a few weeks ago when I drew that pie for.
Hey, that was a coveted prize.
That was a coveted prize. What is that? Stop that.
You ready to move on to Marvel now?
Yeah, let's move on to Marvel.
There's people's hands. Hands all together in a picture. You can see their hands.
How many more of these Disney covers are they going to do for Spider-Man?
Until they stop selling and making Spider-Man look like it's selling better than it is.
I think that's a very fair answer.
So yeah, look at there. Uncanny X-Men #1 by Gail Simone with David Marquez on art. I gotta say, I was not particularly looking forward to this, even though I'm a huge fan of Gail Simone. I love her work. Until I read that little backup story in the Free Comic Book Day book, and that was fantastic. You read that, didn't you?
No, I never did.
Why have you not read it? It's so good.
I just haven't read it. I mean, there is.
It's all of like a 4-minute read.
I know, but at the same time, there's just like Amazing Spider-Man. There's nothing about X-Men that excites me now. I've got
until you read that, and it will fix that for you.
Well, I mean, I'm going to be picking this up as soon as the book comes out. I'm buying it because I want to read it. But I just don't want to get excited for it, knowing that as soon as they hit issue 7, they're going to let me down again.
That hurts my feelings.
Well,
but I completely and totally empathize with it because I feel similarly.
And it's not going to be Gail Simone's fault. It's going to be editorial's fault.
Also that.
So who is this that's all chained up? Let's flip the page.
I don't know.
And we're not going to find out. That was the preview.
Let's take a good look at that again here. are those like bands on the legs, or like because part of a costume, or is that like metal legs? I can't quite tell. Is
I
that
think
Colossus?
it's just
Maybe?
part. Look at your screen. I think
Yeah.
it's just part of this costume.
Then I don't know. They do a good job of not letting you know. Wolverine Revenge #1. You literally have a variant cover by Mark Brooks, where Wolverine is riding on the back of a Triceratops. What's not to love? It's Wolverine and dinosaurs. It's written by Jonathan Hickman with art by Greg Capullo. And just like they did with Blood Hunt, they're doing a red band edition, so you can get extra gore on a page or two.
So, what do you think got them started on this red band edition all of a sudden?
I really wish I knew. And I wish that if they were going to do it, that they would take more advantage of it. Because the extra page or two of a slightly different scene, I didn't find to be particularly compelling. But this is Greg Capullo, and he can go nuts with the gore. So maybe it's just a him thing. We'll see.
Oh, what was that miniseries he did? Is it We Have Demons?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he can definitely do it.
Oh, yeah, he can definitely do it. But it's Wolverine and dinosaurs. I mean, that sells itself. I mean, let's just be honest. That sells itself.
So
And X Factor.
the Havoc variant just got me a little bit excited.
Well, I mean, this just looks really good.
Yep.
Bob Quinn on the art. It's a really good looking book. It's an interesting roster. You got Havoc, you got Feral of all people from X-Force back in the day. You got Maverick, you got Angel, and I forget her name, but she was in X Factor. She was one of the villains with Apocalypse when he was first introduced. The black lady there at the bottom right-hand corner.
Yep.
I forget her name, but she was one of the first. She was introduced with Apocalypse. She was one of the villains in X Factor #6.
But Havoc, and I mean, I guess it's apropos since they're brothers. The character of Havoc and Cyclops are exactly the same in the aspect of, if you give me a really good version of them, they are awesome.
Agreed.
But you very rarely give me a really good version of them.
Also agreed. Her name is Frenzy, and that's not Maverick. I thought it was, but that's Pyro. It's a shame it's not Maverick, because I always liked Maverick, and we never did get to see enough of him. But Feral is an interesting choice. Like, okay, I guess we can do that.
So it looks like we're about to get
X-Men #3 is a weird cover, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's going on there. It's weird, but okay. Avengers #17. Now, that's interesting because Storm joins the Avengers. And we've had a couple of X-Men on the Avengers before, namely Beast, right? But Storm joins the Avengers. I'm kind of all about that. I love it. Finally, we get a book with Forge in it again in a prominent role with X-Force.
And it looks like he's been sipping from the fountain of youth.
Well, like you do. NYX #2, couldn't care less. Sorry for anybody who could. Not my bag. Phoenix. Right away, it's got the Starjammers, so not a big fan of that.
Oh, did you see who is on with the Deadpool team up?
Oh, good lord. That's a very strange team.
That is going to
Crystar.
be a must buy just for that.
Crystar. And they brought back Major X. Okay. And what in the world is Spider-Gwen doing there?
Yep. I mean, it looks really good.
I don't know what it looks like, but it looks like something.
I got to check it out just for Crystar.
I do have to say the cover for Deadpool #5 is hysterical.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
Read that word balloon. Can you grab Daddy's other arm? That's just funny. That's funny. That next, hang on, go back one. That Wolverine deep cut.
Yeah.
Do you know what that story is?
Have not got a clue.
All right, you have to go way back. Like X-Men 211, 240, 250, somewhere in that ballpark. Can you cast your mind back that far?
That is a waves, but
Well, at one point, Wolverine walks off at the end of a book, and he doesn't show up for another 5 issues. Like, he disappears. This is Chris Claremont going back and telling you where he went and what he did.
for him to do that, that's a story he's been thinking about for a long time, because you just don't randomly pull that.
I suspect he had a plan to write it in and never was able to get it for whatever reason. And so he's been sitting on that this whole time. And now they finally said, okay, write that story. I'm very curious about that story. I want to see what that is and where he went.
Now,
so, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I never really have been that big of a Black Panther fan. But this does look good. Black Panther versus Predator.
I'm on board. I'm all on board with that. Look at that Predator's left leg where he clearly has lost his leg and he has a prosthetic.
Yeah, I was looking at the Predator mask on this one.
Yeah, that helmet is pretty incredible. On the whole, I feel like I shouldn't be interested in that, but I'm interested. Yeah, that looks really good. That interior art page, look at that.
This variant cover by Ken Lashley.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That's gorgeous.
So irritating. Bring back Artie and Leech, or it's no good. Fair enough. Fair enough. I appreciate that, Keith.
So we're going to get an Ultraman and Avengers?
Well, they're going to publish one. I'm not going to read it.
Well, I mean, it's written by Kyle Higgins.
I have never liked Ultraman.
I think, to me, Ultraman is one of those, it looked good, and that was about it.
Yeah, it looks good, but no appeal to me at all.
Hey, and we're going to get more Venom stuff.
Oh, hang on. Yay!
Yeah.
That was me excited. Did you buy it? Did I sound excited? I will say that page there on the left, that reminds me of the very first panel Venom ever showed up in.
Yeah.
That was the end of Spider-Man 299. And he doesn't have the tongue or all the drool, right? Because that's how he originally looked.
Have you seen the trailer for Venom Last Dance?
I have not.
Does not look interesting on any level.
I am not surprised.
And
then
I hate that
still
because I
more
like Tom
Venom War
Hardy.
symbiotes or zombiotes, Venom War Carnage, Venom War Venomous. Like, yay, snooze fest. Don't care about Venom War. Not excited at all.
Blood Hunters 1 of 5.
But look at that team.
Yeah.
Elsa Bloodstone. I'm excited for that. Dagger, because Cloak is gone. Miles Morales has been turned into a vampire, which kind of ticks me off, but okay. That's an interesting team. I'd give that a look.
Oh,
Definitely, 100% getting that. So getting this.
Oh, look at that interior art.
It's exquisite. I don't know who Sergio Davila is, but I'm a big fan now.
That it's going to get a red band also?
Fantastic. Yes, it's also getting a red band version.
Is this a one-shot? Tell me.
I do not believe so. I think it's 4 issues.
Well, it doesn't really say. It says, usually in the synopsis, they might tell you a little something, but they're not. It literally just says Werewolf by Night, red band number 1.
Yep. I'm gonna read it regardless.
That is awesome.
I know. Isn't that
I
wonderful?
hate when Marvel does something I like.
It's frustrating, isn't it? Spider Society. Every spider character you love and some you haven't met yet, because there's just not enough. It's like they're really, really, really trying to milk into the Spider-Verse as hard as they can.
Is that Spider Craven?
Yes.
It looks like he's getting ready to go tame a lion.
Yes. He's got his Siegfried and Roy makeup on. 100%. Yeah.
Hey, I'm getting up here. Is that Mary Jane from Renew Your Vows?
Probably. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because we've got Annie Mae over here.
Yep, I think so. This Spider-Man Black Suit and Blood number 1 of 4. It's limited series. It's the same guy who wrote Kraven's Last Hunt. It's interesting. It's 4 issues of black and white, but with red, like they do. I'm curious to see how that turns out, I will admit.
Yeah, and one of the stories in here is by Straczynski.
Yeah, but he ruined Spider-Man's. That was terrible what he did. And the Madam Web movie pulled Spider-Man lore from his run.
I never watched Madam Web.
You should, on the basis of there was a good idea, there was a good story idea seed in there somewhere. And as a comic book guy, you'll see it. They just failed to execute it.
Backed by popular demand. The clones are going to make a comeback.
Yeah, because everybody needs more of those. Iron Fist 50th Anniversary Special. He's marginally older than I am.
Marginally?
Only marginally, but marginally. I've always liked Iron Fist. Not going to lie.
Lord, there for a second, I thought Black Panther was covered in Christmas lights.
That's exactly what it looks like. If you were to go in and Photoshop different colors on there and release this as a Christmas issue, that's all anybody could ask for.
That is literally what I look like every year when I'm putting the outside lights up.
You know, maybe we should get Tom to do that. He can scan this in and put Christmas lights on it. That would be hysterical. All right, we have one vote for the Comic Cam. We have a vote for the Comic Cam.
Cool. It just kind of hit me like, I wonder if I could do that. So I just did it.
I'm just going to say Ultimate Spider-Man has been just absolutely awesome and rocking, and I'm excited for it.
But look who she's taking on.
I know.
Yeah, I like the new Punisher.
I do too. And I really like, even though I thought it was a dumb idea when they first did it, I thought, well, what are they thinking? You can't turn Elektra into the Punisher. That's stupid. I think she's great in that role. I really like Elektra, not as Punisher, Elektra as Daredevil. I really like that role for her. I think her costume is awesome. Just very pleased with that. So,
what sold me on it, because I was the same way. It was like Elektra's not Daredevil. Why are they making Elektra Daredevil? Yep. But when they explained it as, and for those of you that are not reading it because she's Daredevil, don't let that sway you, because it is explained she's doing it to basically pay tribute to what all he did.
Yep.
I mean, she's not trying to become the new Daredevil. She is honoring his legacy, which honestly makes it so much better.
Yeah, I really, really dig that. And if the interior art is as good as that cover, I'm going to be very happy with that too.
Yeah, and if y'all want like a fairly quick read just to kind of see what she's like as Daredevil, pick up Daredevil Gang War. I think it was only 4 issues.
Yep.
And it was great. And you do not have to know
anything else.
Yeah, what's going on with the whole Gang War storyline.
It stands on its own very well. Yep. Now, on that next page, that Namor book, I'm literally the only person signed up for this at the shop. Like, we have 0 other subscribers beside me, and I am what's the term I'm looking for here? Uncharacteristically optimistic for this book. I think Namor's going to be good, and I think you guys are all going to be wishing that you had read it.
Look, nobody signed up for it, so that'll be the one book that as soon as it comes out, it shoots to $100 an issue.
That wouldn't surprise me. Now, who is excited for annuals that are all part of an overarching story called Infinity Watch? Who is excited for that? Zero people.
Should be one-shots.
And they shouldn't tie across together like that. The year that in 1994, when, I know this makes me sound so freaking old, but 30 years ago, when DC did all their annuals as Elseworld stories, that was great. The only thing they had in common was they were Elseworld stories. They were not tied together at all. And they were fan-freaking-tastic. Strongly recommend. The Miles Morales annual, he looks like he's outside in the sunlight and he's not a vampire, so that's helpful. But then on the next page, he's still a vampire. I don't know.
Oh, and it even says unquenchable thirst for blood.
Like you do.
So if you had your choice, werewolf or vampire, which one would you be?
Oh. I don't see a huge contingent of the ladies who are interested in werewolves. So, on that basis alone, I think I would go vampire.
Yeah, I kind of like the whole idea of immortality, because I promise you, I could amass some wealth.
Vampires, werewolves also lose control a lot.
Yep.
And vampires don't seem to quite so often. So I like that. I'm going to just go ahead and tell you, if you are not reading Spectacular Spider-Men, you should be. That book is so freaking great. It's fun. It's what Spider-Man should be. It's fun. Really, really, really enjoying it. Yep, Mr. Negative. We got Hammerhead.
All right. Kiefer Bush
That
wants to be a
Silvermane?
wolf.
They're on the right, on the bottom right there next to Miles Morales. Is that Silvermane? Not her. That's Black Cat.
I can't really tell, to be honest with you.
It looks like Silvermane, although I thought he was dead.
Or Brainiac
And
with
who that is
eyebrows.
above him, I don't know. The guy above him just looks like the food critic from Ratatouille.
He really does.
I can't wait to tell Umberto Ramos that. He'll be like, I hate you, go away.
All right, so you and I are both vampires. Kiefer Bush wants to be a wolf.
Yeah, you can't blame him. He
I
wants
mean,
to
it
run
would be
free.
nice to be a wolf because I would get my hair back.
You'd be a wolf with no hair on his head.
Yeah, but I would look forward to would not look forward to losing control so much.
No. Look at the Fantastic Car on that cover of Fantastic Four.
And once again, if y'all are not reading Fantastic Four, you are truly missing out.
Just so love this book, and Alex Ross's covers for it are phenomenal. But this must be a month with 5 weeks in it or something, because we've got 2 issues of Fantastic Four shipping this month. That's an unsettling cover of Hulk in Hulk number 15.
Yeah.
I don't like that. That creepy kid being creepy. Nope, 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 nope. Creepy kid being creepy, that's not good.
He
And Demon Hulk with the horns and stuff, that's also not good.
He kind of reminds me of the creepy kid from Temple of Doom.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, what if the creepy kid from Temple of Doom got together with the Golden Child?
Now this Rob Reese cover, Rob Reese,
yeah.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool.
I don't care for that version of Hulk, which is the one that they've been going for a while. Like the Hulk where he watched the Avengers movie and he decided he really, really liked Winter Soldier's hair. I don't care for that. Now we're talking.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're talking.
And
Look at that cover for Phases of the Moon Knight number 1 of 4. Illuminating lost lunar lore. Man, I'm excited for that. Look at that sword. This is like a medieval Moon Knight. I'm so excited I could just spit. Oh my god, this
Yeah, but also the cover by Moon Knight, Vengeance of Moon Knight number 8.
Oh yeah. Fantastic. Which brings up the question of who is that? Is it Shroud? Is he back? Do we know?
And see, the synopsis really doesn't say.
It does not.
What was the last issue?
6?
6,
I think, yes.
Okay. Okay, so here it is. Well, hang on before we run off. It right here it says for those of y'all that don't pick these up, which if you do not pick these up from the shop, shame on you. But literally for Phases of the Moon Knight, though he is among the most recent, Mark Spector is far from the first Fist of Khonshu. The true history and depth of the legacy of Moon Knight can be shrouded in the mystery of antiquity until now. Oh, that's going to be so good.
I'm telling you, I've always loved a character, kind of like the Phantom, right? A character that has a built-in legacy so that you can tell stories at any point about Moon Knight. What I would really love is to see like a story of multiple Moon Knights happening at the same time, and you see different things falling together so that
Yep.
you come to a modern story where those things mattered, where things were put into motion that take place now. Something like that. I would love that kind of a story. Makes me really, really happy. But I'm excited for this. I'm so
And
excited for this.
this last bullet point, Matt Posey, get ready to get mad because here comes the sales pitch. An all-new Moon Knight from Marvel Universe's ancient past, the Moon Knight of the old Crusade, forged in the crucible of holy war. What long-forgotten secrets of the Marvel Universe are waiting to be discovered in his saga? That is going to be so flipping good.
A Knight Templar kind of a Moon Knight. Like, I can't sign up for that fast enough.
Lost Lunar Lore. Oh, this is going to be so good.
Now, Keith, I feel like there's a little bit of sarcasm in your question there. But to answer the question, heck yes, I do.
Jed MacKay. So when we were headed toward that, what was it, issue 200, where we had the Sun King and all that?
Yeah.
That was like a bad acid trip. It was really bizarre. Well, when they ended it and Jed MacKay took over and we got this new Moon Knight, I was a little nervous because it was like, are we going to get that other stuff that we got with Sun King and all that?
Yeah.
And I like the fact that we got none of that, even though he does reference Marlena and their daughter one time, that they're kind of off out and about. But this new Moon Knight, oh, is so good. Josh is not the only one. This is one of those where I would love to see Jed MacKay take over Amazing Spider-Man, because with what he's done with Moon Knight and made Moon, because if you look with Blood Hunt truly started with Moon Knight.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's where it started. Moon Knight and Daredevil, to me, at this point in Marvel history, are the two most important characters they have that's not a team.
Agreed.
You know, Ryan North cannot sing his praises enough for what he's done with Fantastic Four. But when you start looking at like Amazing Spider-Man and the stuff that you would think would be the flagship books, they pale in comparison to the B tier characters right now.
100% on target.
Sorry, that was my rant.
Put your soapbox away now.
Yeah, really. Let me get down off of it.
That's a pretty cool cover of Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, it really is. She looks very evil in it.
Yeah, she's supposed to, and she does.
And then the variant cover is pretty slick looking as well.
Uh-huh. And then this Marvel 85th anniversary book, I wasn't excited about it at all, except for the very first name written there. And then the second one as a writer.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Don't see his name a whole lot.
Not as a writer. But no, I'm very interested in that. There are a few stories in there I'm excited about. There's a lot I don't care about, but others I may care about. I just don't know about them yet. Boy, Immortal Thor has been a weird book.
Have not been reading it.
I've enjoyed it, but it's weird.
I will be getting caught up on Daredevil this weekend.
Yep, Captain America, J. Michael Straczynski's done a great job with this Captain America series. I've been very happy with it. Daredevil, I've been surprisingly happy with. I don't think it's like the A-tier book that it was when Zdarsky was writing it, but it's still very solid and dependable, and I enjoy that.
I like that it's brought him... Zdarsky took him somewhere nobody ever took him.
And you couldn't.
Yeah,
And how you follow that up, I don't know.
And Ahmed has brought him back down to street level.
Which it needed to happen.
Yeah, it needed to happen bad, but I think Ahmed's done a great job.
I concur.
I mean,
and I thought it was interesting that he wanted to tackle this book, especially given the prominence of Father Matthew.
Yes.
And how he plays his faith so strongly in it. Because Saladin Ahmed is Muslim, and he really wanted to write this Catholic character. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, he said
step outside of what you know and write something that's so different, and to really like deal with it, think about it, and do it so effectively. I kudos to him.
Oh, and if for some reason you get this Gabriel Dell'Otto cover in, I'm gonna need that. Oh,
yeah, you think that's a good looking cover, do you?
You know what? I think the kid might have a future in comics.
He just might.
Honestly, one of the things that I like is with what Ahmed has done with the Father Matthew aspect of it. I got excited when I saw Father Matthew in Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, I did too.
Even though he's not Daredevil, or at least as of now, he's not Daredevil in this universe that we know of.
Yep.
Just seeing Father Matthew there, it just felt right. You know, I mean, it felt good to see him.
I like him as a character.
Yeah.
I really do. Get Fury has been good. Anytime Garth Ennis writes a war story, it's good. I don't like everything Garth Ennis writes, but his war stories are always on target.
Yeah, I've got the first issue at home. I just haven't read it yet.
You need to give that a read.
And I have not been reading Helverine because it just kind of seems like a gimmick book to me.
You think? And then everything after this is Star Wars. It's pages and pages.
Now that is a good looking Osaka cover.
I wish to goodness that Ahsoka was not just, hey, here's the TV series being retold.
Yeah.
Because that's all that it is.
Didn't they do the same thing with Mandalorian?
They did. Not my favorite idea. But, you know.
Looks like we've got some Stormbreaker stuff going on.
But yeah, this is just all trade paperbacks and posters and comic book boxes and stuff. Now, there is the Daredevil by Chip Zdarsky Omnibus Volume 2.
Yeah.
If you need an omnibus of it. So good. And they're soliciting... I thought Marvel The End as an omnibus was an interesting choice. The Jim Starlin, the Peter David stuff.
Yeah.
I did like the Hulk The End character. He finally got what he wanted. He was the last living thing in the universe. And he was just sitting on like a hillside watching the sunshine and stuff. And he finally was at peace. If you never read Peter David's Avengers, The End, the last Avengers story, that was impressive.
Yeah, I never read that.
God, that was impressive. Read the tagline there for, or what that first quote is about Ultimate Black Panther. A brilliant glimpse at a new world. All I could hear was, a whole new world.
Don't
That's
you
where
dare
we'll be.
eyes.
Ultimately, such a good book. They have not definitively said, Bill, that they are ending Star Wars and Darth Vader at number 50. They haven't definitively said that, but that is their... That's their MO. That is what they traditionally do. Peter David did have a decent run on X Factor. He sure did. I enjoyed it. Did you get to the Werewolf by Night? There you are.
Yeah, but this was I thought this was a one shot.
Well, let's see what it says there. Well, I'm just going to tell you now. I'm going to read it. I
Yeah.
vaguely remember it. But it's
Okay,
got stories
it's
in there by Jed McKay, which I'm on board with.
Yeah, so it's not just the story of where Jack and Elsa go to rescue the girl. There's more stories to it.
Yes.
So we got Werewolf by Night, the one shot, Moon Knight Annual, Crypt of Shadows, and Crypt of Shadows 2022 and 2023.
Yep.
I'll take a copy of that.
As will I.
I mean, you're literally getting what, 1, 2, 3, 4 comics for $20.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not bad, and those were all great reads.
If you keep on flipping, you get to the Epic Collection, and you get the Moon Knight Epic Collection, The Trial of Mark Spector, back in the day when it was written by Chuck Dixon, Howard Mackey, and Mike Barron, with art by Sal Velluto, Mark Bagley, and Bill Reinhold. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, this was hilarious. Somebody the other day said, yeah, somebody came in and they had a comic. They wanted to know if it was worth anything. It was a Spider-Man book, I think, but it had Moon Knight and Punisher on the cover. And I was like, yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 354. I believe it was 354. And they're like, seriously? How do you know the issue number? And I'm like, yeah, I remember. Mark Bagley did the art.
Yep.
And they're like, what is wrong with you? Sorry, just been a fan for a minute.
And yeah, I'll take that Werewolf by Night, and Bug would like a copy of this Scarlet Witch trade that's coming out.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't come out till September, so I mean, we got time.
Yeah. You got it.
And
that looks like we can talk about the indie books next week.
Yeah, that was the first official test run of an idea that I literally had at the last possible second. That's why, if every once in a while, if y'all will notice, Josh will be talking and I will not be looking at him. I'll be over here doing something. It's because I'm either looking at something or trying to figure out how to do something last second.
Well, maybe what we need is a holder for the comic cam, so we can hold it steady and you can just move the book.
Yeah, I've got a we'll go ahead and kill it.
Don't die, comic cam. Oh
no.
Mr. Hanky, no.
That didn't suck the battery of my phone as fast as I thought it would. Now I've got a tripod for my gimbal at home.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can set it up. What I guess if I'm going to do that again, what I need to get is one of those like little podium things that you see them for, like the musicians for sheet music.
Yep.
That I can set right here and just kind of turn the page.
Well, they make those for people who are doing a lot of typing too, or transcribing.
Yeah.
They have those that you set next to your computer monitor. So yeah, that's not a bad idea. And pick you up a regular copy of previews from the store so that you can we can go through it.
Okay.
Because I enjoyed the comic cam, so I'm glad that we got a vote for it.
Yeah, we'll do it again next week until somebody says, "Dude, you're making me seasick. Quit." But Bill, onto your question, I said that a while back, about a pretty good while ago, about I thought that they would end it at 50. At least this current run of Star Wars, I figured it would end at 50 because that's how they've done the others in between the movies. They did 50 issues. As far as Vader is concerned, it makes sense. But considering that is their best Star Wars title they have, I could see them taking it up to 50.
Not to 50.
But then we would these amps go to 50.
I've just sucked 1 year of your life away.
We
Oh,
could possibly see like maybe a Vader Classic Tales, or because they've done Untold Tales before.
Yep.
They could very easily continue the comic book and it just be stuff that we've never seen before. Like right now, what we're seeing with Vader, it's stuff we understand where Vader's going, what he's marching toward, but it's basically everything is Untold Tales. They could continue that if they wanted to.
Yep, agreed.
Just kind of repackage it a little bit.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, we have come to the end of the night, so we are going to let you guys all go. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. If this is your first time watching the show, thank you. Pop into the chat next time and talk. We love for this to be an interactive conversation. We have a really good time with it. If there's topics you want us to discuss, let us know. We'll talk about most anything except for religion and politics. We don't need to get embroiled in any of that. But we'll talk about just about anything else. So let us know if you got a topic you want us to cover, if a book you want us to read. We're pretty game for all that too. So you guys have a great night. Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you all next time.